Well, with massive spending cuts set to kick in just 5 days, Republicans are calling on the White House to get a deal done. This weekend on Huckabee, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham urging President Obama to come up with an alternative plan he's calling a big deal. Listen.
The next time that I would put revenue on the table, Mike, is to flatten the tax code, make it simple, make it fair, take the money and pay down some debt and lower rates for entitlement reform. The next time a Republican should agree to do revenue is when Democrats agree to fix entitlements, save Social Security and Medicare from bankruptcy. Do the big deal. Mr. President, have a legacy worthy of being president. Do the big deal. Quit playing small ball.
Well, Trey Hardin is the principal of Podesta Group and is a former Republican campaign manager and aide to the GOP House leadership. Christy Setzer is the president of New Heights Communications and was the spokesperson for former Vermont Governor Howard Dean. Thank you both for joining us.
Great to be here again, Heather.
All right, so March 1st is 5 days away. We keep mentioning that. Will there be a grand bargain or a big deal, or is there even time for one to be reached? Christy, I'll let you go first.
No, sadly, I don't think there's going to be any kind of big deal or any kind of bargain that takes place, but sadly not for Democrats' lack of trying. On 4 separate occasions, Republicans have refused to even allow for a vote Democratic alternatives to the sequester. And in fact, Republicans even refused to allow a vote on a Democratic bill to force Congress to work through their break last week instead of going home to their districts. So these guys are worse than college kids procrastinating before finals. They're not going to get anything done at all until there's absolutely no time left.
You know, but Trey, here's my question to you. Jumping off of that, do you even believe the president will negotiate, or does he even want to? There was this op-ed piece, Bob Woodward, he published it on Friday, and he points out that the sequester was actually the brainchild, his words, of the president. You know, pointed out that the automatic spending cuts, they were initiated by the White House. They were put together by Jack Lew, who was the then budget director, and then also, you know, put together by Rob Neighbors. So do you even think that the president wants to negotiate on this, or is this what he wanted all along?
No, he doesn't, unfortunately, Heather. And, you know, we have come to expect 11th hour, you know, miracles or deals being cut by our leaders to avert political embarrassment, but not this time. As Christy said, all of their chips are in. They've placed their bets. The president is betting on the American electorate, blaming Republicans and for not giving him some sort of mandate that he feels he earned in the election. And Republicans are betting on the fact that Americans want to have a debate about government spending, as well as insert some discipline into this town in the long term. But the fact remains that solutions are not going to happen in this town or on this issue unless both sides acknowledge that they are going to hate parts of it. And I would say the American people deserve, and that's called compromise. I would say the American people deserve that more than they deserve their futures being treated like a roulette wheel.
All right, well, speaking of compromise, Christy, Republicans, they reportedly do have an alternative plan to the sequester that would keep the lower spending levels in place, but give federal agencies greater flexibility to determine where the cuts are implemented, provided that the balance remains between the defense and the non-defense discretionary cuts or spending cuts. So what about that idea?
Yeah, no, that plan doesn't even pass the laugh test. Look, at this point, Republicans have essentially owned the sequester. Mitch McConnell himself has said there's not going to be any kind of last-minute deal. And John Boehner's plan, the one that you basically just described, he probably doesn't even have the votes for. I certainly don't believe that he has any intention of bringing it to the floor before Friday. So I think at this point, the question is really, what is the Republican plan? As Trey said, they know that Americans are going to blame them if the sequester takes place. Americans have already said that they support the president's approach. So I'm just not really sure what Republicans are doing here.
Well,
let me.
Go ahead,
I'm sorry,
Trey.
Heather. Yeah, let me be clear. I wasn't necessarily saying that they know the American people are going to blame them. I'm saying the president is betting on that. But listen. As you know, on this show
well,
with you,
I've polling has said as well. But
but I've been critical. I've been critical of the Republican Party. I think they lack a vision right now, and unfortunately, they've created some image for themselves that they are against people, and they've got a lot of work to do. But I will say, I want one Democrat to stand with me and tell me why the government and the spending in this government is not the first option for looking at fixing this problem, as opposed to the taxpayer being the first option. It just does not make sense to me. I think it's unfair. Why not sit around the table and say, we got to get these out?
All right, Chrissy, I don't have time for you to answer that question, but I do know this. 83% of Americans in the latest Fox News poll, they say that government spending is out of control, so something certainly does need to be done. And we'll see what happens 5 days from now. Thank you both for joining us.
Always a pleasure.
Great to be here.
All right, we appreciate it.